How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today's video, I'm going to have another kind of install video for you. I'm going to be installing pusher fans on my AC condenser in my Camaro. $26 pusher puller fans I found off Amazon. They claim 2100 CFM per fan, which I'm not sure how true that is. Because right now my setup, I have two LS1 fans, like the factory 2002 Camaro LS1 fan setup. And they work great. The only thing is when the AC comes on, and particularly when I'm on the highway, the temperature is going to creep up. It creeps up to maybe 210, 220. It's running very hot, but it doesn't climb really farther than that, but it's running way hotter than I would like it to. So I think just installing these fans just on the front of the condenser, that I'm going to wire them so they come on when the AC comes on, I think that's going to bring the temperature down, and I think I should be all right. Okay, so here's my current fan setup. You can see I'm running LS1 fans in here, and then controlling them, I have a 4-gauge wire coming off the battery, going to this little waterproof power distribution fuse block. I got a 30 amp fuse. Each fan has its own fuse and its own relay. So coming off of here, the power wire is coming along and going into the relay over here. So each fan has its own relay, and then the relay is basically just grounded by the PCM, so once the temperature hits 190, PCM sends to ground, relay grounds, fans turn on. So I'm basically doing the same thing for the pusher fans. The only difference is going to be, instead of the PCM turning the fans on, I'm going to have them turn on when the AC is turned on. So I'm going to take the power wire from the compressor and I'm going to use that as the ignition input for the relay, and that's going to turn the fans on. So they're not going to always be running, they're only going to be running when I have the AC on. You can see how well that fits in there. It's like the perfect size, so I could fit the two 12 side by side. They're slim, so they don't stick out. They're like a low profile fan. So I'm excited to get them hooked up and see how much they're going to help my overheating issue I'm having. I'm going to go grab some tools, set up the camera. We'll start taking this thing apart. Alright, so the fans are mounted. They went pretty smooth. The only problem, the bottom ones were a real pain in the ass to get in because there's really not any room. I didn't want to have to pull the radiator out, but I got them in. They look good. I'm not really a fan of, no pun intended, I'm not really a fan of the way that these fans, the kit that they give you with all these electric fans mount up, how they go through the fins like this, but I mean, it's gonna work. If these things really work well and I'm happy with them, then maybe I'll build some kind of like shroud, but like I said, these aren't my primary fans. These are just little extra cooler AC fans, so I'm not really worried about it. I think they're gonna work good. I mounted them upside down so I could run the wiring up and underneath so you won't see anything. I just got to put the radiator back into place, put the fans in, and then I'll get started on the wiring. Alright, so everything's back together. Got the shroud in, LS1 fans are back in, intake. Now I'm going to start wiring this thing up. The only thing I don't have are connectors. You see I have these little kind of crimp-on shitty connectors they give you. So I think what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to cut these things off, solder them, and heat shrink them. And then if I could track down a connector or if I come across something, I'll put a connector in here, but for now I'd rather have these things soldered in than using these cheap little connectors that they give you on here. Alright, so I got the fans all wired up. I got the connectors taken out. Wires soldered together. Everything's heat shrinked. Everything looks good. My battery's about to die, so I'm going to have to go in and get another battery. But next, I'm probably going to just get some kind of... I'm just going to tape these up, put loom over them, and then I'll run them up underneath the radiator support here over to the battery area, and then we'll be ready to wire up the relays. Alright guys, so before I go out to the car and start wiring the fans up, I figured I'll just do a quick overview on what's inside the relay, how it actually works, you know, just to give you a better understanding of what I'm wiring up here. So the relay I'm using, it's a regular 4-terminal relay. I don't know if you could see, but each terminal on the relay has its own number. So down here we got 30, on the side it's 85, the top is 87, and on the left is 86. So now the way this is going to work, on number 86, you're going to want to supply it with 12 volts ignition power, and on 85, directly on the other side, that's going to get the ground. So the way my fan is wired up now, 86 is getting 12 volt power, and then 85 is controlled by the PCM, and the PCM is basically supplying the ground. So when this circuit is complete, you have 12 volts here, you have ground here, that is going to let power flow through these two terminals, which is going to be where the fan is actually wired up. So on 30 down here, that's going to be 12 volts coming directly from your battery, and then on the other side is going to be your power wire going to your fan. And then the ground on the fan is just going to get ground to the chassis. You could ground it to the battery. That's not going to be wired through the relay itself. So on the other side of this thing, you can see we have this coil of wire, and the way this thing actually works is when power comes through 86 and 85, that's going to energize the coil. This little switch is going to come down, and then that's basically going to complete the circuit for terminals 30 and 87 and allow battery power to flow to your fan. That's really just how it works. It's pretty simple. It's just, it can look a little confusing because you have all these terminals, you don't know what they do, how they get wired up, but once you understand how it works, it's really easy to connect and wire up. Alright, so before I go any further, let me show you what I got done so far in getting the relays wired up. So all I did was I tapped into the 12 volt signal wire going to the AC compressor. I tapped into that over here. I just tapped into the wire, soldered it, heat shrinked it. Then I ran this wire down along the firewall, put some loom on it, comes down under the battery, and I had it come out right behind the headlight. What I'm actually going to do, I'm going to mount these relays behind the headlight here, just because I don't want to clutter this area up. It's a little tight as it is. Plus I have the fan wiring right here, so I could just run the fan wires right over to here. I have a nice grounding point back here for the factory headlights, and the fuse block is right there coming for the power. So, and there's a good amount of room here, so I'm just going to stick with that, mount them up right here. Alright, so here's what I had wired up so far in the relay. I took the two 85 terminals, which are going to be the ground for the control circuit that's going to turn the relay on. I connected those two together because they're both going to be a ground. And then the other two wires that are going to be going together are number 86. And these are the two wires that are going to be the power side of that circuit. And these are both going to connect to my 12 volt tapped in AC wire over here. So that's going to be the power. AC is going to give 12 volts here. They're going to ground through here. Relays turn on. Now I just got to run the battery feed coming into the two red ones here, and then the two blue ones, and those are going to actually go to the fans themselves. I actually picked up 5-pin relays, so these two yellow ones in the middle, they're not getting used, so I'm just going to tape them up like that just so they're out of the way. So right now I'm going to solder the two white ones together, connect them to the AC feed, and then I'll be able to run a power wire and a fan wire and fire everything up, see if they work. Alright, so before I go any farther, I just wanted to show you guys, I was actually able to use the factory headlight wire loom because the harness for the headlights runs underneath the core support here, and I just tucked the fan wires right into there. It's going to go right back underneath. You won't even know they were there. It'll look totally factory, which is great. But I'm definitely going to want to get connectors now, being this is all going to be hidden away and pretty much not going to have to be touched again. So I'll probably just get a couple of, maybe even F-body fan connectors, and I'll just cut them, put them in right here. So it'll be easy removal if I had to take out the condenser or the fans for any reason. Alright, so the fan wires are all ran. They're coming out right here where the relays are going to sit. Right now I'm just going to take the 2 grounds for the fan. I got these little heat shrink eye terminals. I'm just going to connect them both together, crimp them down, heat shrink it, probably ground it either by the battery cable here, or I'm probably going to end up using this ground point for the headlights. And then it'll just be hooking the power wires into the relays and running the power from the fuse block to the relay, and that should be it. I should be ready to turn it on, see if they work. So everything's back together. Relays are mounted. Fuses are in. The only thing I forgot, I put everything together, started up, the fans weren't coming on. I missed the 1 ground. I ended up just putting it over here. The 1 ground for the relay. That's a constant ground that turns the relay on, being it's getting the switch power from the compressor. So I got that hooked up. Everything's working now. I'm gonna start it up, I'll show you how they work. Alright, so right now AC isn't on. See, both fans are off. The car isn't up to temperature, so the regular fans aren't going to come on, but I'm just going to put the AC on and I'll show you how they all come on. AC is on. There you go. So these are pushing air through the condenser, and then the factory fans are pulling air. And they're working great. So it's going to be a few days before I actually get to see if these make a difference. It's kind of cool now. I'm kind of hoping it warms up a little bit again, but I think they're really going to help. All right, fan update. So they're all together. I'm on the highway right now. I'm keeping the car in 5th just to try to heat it up a little bit. I got the AC running. I've been driving maybe about close to 10 minutes now, and the temperature is staying right. The gauge is reading about 160, but I'm using an LS1 gauge sender, so it's not accurate, so it's really about like 180, 190, what's on that line. But yeah, the temperature isn't moving. Before it would creep all the way up to 220 and just sit in the middle there when the AC was on. And that was only on the highway. So that's completely gone now. It's just sitting right there at like 180, 190, which is great. So I'm glad I didn't have to get a bigger radiator. The fans did it. It's running way cooler. The AC is definitely working way better now too, because the condenser isn't getting as much heat soak from the radiator and everything. But I'm surprised that it's weird, the problem I was having, because driving on the highway, you would think it would run cooler because you're getting air forced through the radiator, but in my case it wasn't. And when I was driving around town, driving in traffic, it would actually run cooler for some reason. But I guess maybe it was with the gearing, I don't know, maybe because I was driving at a higher RPM, you're sitting on the highway, you know, you're going 65, 70, you're probably sitting at 2,500, 3,000 RPM sometimes. And maybe that could be it. But yeah, the fans definitely helped. So yeah, if this video helped you out, if you enjoyed it, please subscribe, leave a comment, like the video. I'm going to put all the parts I use down in the description, so you'll have links if you want to order this exact same setup. The relays, everything I use, it'll all be in there.